So UFC 297 is definitely something to look forward to. I mean, if you take a second, I mean, look how bizarre this fight is. Like, if you look at Sean Strickland versus Dricus Duplessis, I mean, this whole thing. I mean, I thought it was awkward. We had basically Dricus was supposed to fight against Izzy, and that was the whole storyline led to that. The whole storyline. And then Dricus, he hurts his foot. He wants to be at his best before he fights Izzy. He's, in a way that's showing how much he respects Izzy's skills. That he feels like he needs to be at his utmost best in order to fight him. Because again, if he fights him not at his best and he loses, then it's going to be a long time before he gets that fight again. So he decides to, well, I gotta get my leg fixed, right? And then, Sean Strickland takes the fight. Now, I would say that probably like 95% of the internet, it seemed like, was just like, oh, Sean Strickland, we don't really know the guy. He's going to give us a good press conference, but most likely he's going to get knocked out in the second round. I think even Strickland believed this because when he went out there, you could see that he was very defensive. He was very you could tell that the pressure of, oh, he's fighting Izzy Adesanya. This is the LeBron James of the middleweight division, basically. He's going to have his own Nikes at some point. That was getting to him. You could see him when he was doing the walkout. He seemed very, like, he wasn't so, like, open and, like, making a big thing out of it. You could see that the pressure was getting to him. And it took him a few rounds until he started really opening up. Like, he was very defensive in the first, and yeah, he did land. He did land, obviously. He landed that first that 1-2 that dropped Izzy in that round. But it's still, you could still see in his style, he was very defensive orientated. He was very slow, walking forward, very defensive, and then he would strike when there was opportunity. He wasn't as aggressive as he was in his other fights, but still, for him to then beat Izzy, and then all of a sudden the whole storyline between Dricus and Izzy is now gone, and it was just kept in this weird situation. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, what fight should we want to see? Like, the UFC was making it sound like they wanted a rematch. I was almost hearing immediate rematch between Izzy and Sean. And honestly, I think the only reason it didn't happen was because the UFC or because Izzy, I think, didn't want it. I think he knew that the style he has is countered by Sean's, and Izzy doesn't have the ability to create a new fighting style in order to deal with that. Like, some guys have different styles, right? They fight out of left hand, they could fight out of right, they could fight side to side, they can kind of move forward and back. They could incorporate, they could fight in different ways if they have to. But Izzy is the style he has is the style he's had since the beginning, and I don't think there's any way for him to develop a new way to fight. I think what he has is what he has, and he knows that, and that's why he was like, you know what, I think I'm going to take a break. I'm going to let all the drama in the middleweight division just kind of like do its thing without him there. And then when things kind of settle down, then he'll come back into the division. And we also have to remember the emotional damage he took from all the dog comments and that whole thing. I mean, that took his soul. So, like, Sean Strickland took his soul, and then he beat up his body in the cage. I mean, the amount of damage from that. But thinking about all of that, and then now we're stuck with this situation where, well, Dricus is like, well, I only care about the belt. I don't really care about too much about Izzy, but he still has beef with Izzy. And now we have Sean versus Strickland, and we all thought, oh, or at least I thought, oh, this is gonna be a boring fight. They're gonna press conference is gonna be garbage. Not much to say. Obviously, some stuff came out about Dricus that in their culture they tend to be very touchy feely. And man, Sean Strickland didn't waste a second talking about that kind of stuff. Now, which is good because now we're creating a fight. But I don't want to see fake stuff. I don't want to see people just making stuff up or finding anything they can in order to make up drama. Like, if there's drama, let it be drama. If there's no drama, just don't. but somehow Sean Strickland and Dricus were able to create a situation where there was no drama, and now there is legitimate drama. Like, I thought they were going to do some WWE fake drama stuff, which is, that's not my cup of tea, or anything. But actually, they created legitimate drama, which is, obviously Sean Strickland has, he's got some issues, which we all know. He's been very vocal about it as well. But the reaction to, his childhood traumas has just been, very surprising. It's just very, very surprising for him to literally flip the switch from, hey, I'm the jester, I'm the guy who gets to make fun of the king and everybody, and to all of a sudden like taking his mask off and pulling out a sword and trying to doom guy the whole room. Like, total crazy situation, how quick that situation flipped. But at the same time, I'm very excited for it now. We have legitimate beef, which is nothing better. Having two people who actually do not like each other, and then you have them fight each other. That's probably the greatest thing that could ever happen. Which we didn't get from the last fight from Leon Edwards and Colby Covington. Unfortunately, both guys had beef and they wanted to fight, but then neither one of them wanted to fight. So that's a bizarre situation. But we all know with Sean Strickland and with Dricus, both guys move forward. Both guys now have a beef. I think it's a very exciting fight. The only downside to it, though, is I'm thinking that the fight may turn into, and I haven't really researched their grappling skills too much, but I am thinking that Dricus is, he's not really the bigger guy, but he is the stronger guy. And I am worried that Dricus may overpower Sean and just keep him like on his back for the most part, like have a mainly like wrestling style, just keep him on his back and just kind of, lay and pray him out. Now, we know Sean Strickland also has a wrestling base, or not a wrestling base, I mean. We know he is a good wrestler. Like his whole fight against Izzy, he was training primarily in wrestling, offensive wrestling, the entire time. And we do know wrestling is part of his game. He's mainly like a boxer wrestler, but he prefers to just strike, obviously. Because how many videos do we have of him like out wrestling people? Like, it's not his preferred thing. He can do it, but it's not his preferred thing. He'd rather just strike someone for 5 rounds. Like, he prefers that. But will Dricus let that happen? I mean, Dricus obviously just wants the belt. He doesn't probably even care about the whole drama. He probably thinks it's fun. Whereas Strickland actually is angry. He wants to actually beat up Dricus. He's very angry. This is personal to him, which could be bad because he can make a lot of, I mean, in his fight against Izzy, like, he's lucky that he was actually able to piece him up, because if he didn't, would he have, even if his coach was saying shoot on him, would he might have not even shot, even if he was getting beat up by Izzy. So, it kind of goes to show you that your emotions and your mindset are very important, because a lot of these guys in a lot of fights, they know they should be doing this, they know they should be doing that. Their coach could be in the corner screaming at them for 5 rounds to do something, and they won't do it for whatever reason. And so, if Strickland gets in a situation where maybe he should start grappling, maybe he should start doing something, but instead he just wants to, he was talking about my dad, I just want to punch him in the face, I'm just going to keep standing with him even though he's losing in the standing arena, that could potentially become an issue. But at the same time, we did see Strickland on a podcast, and he was, he did let out some of this, trauma. He let out some of this stuff, so hopefully he's detoxed. Not all of it, of course, because there's no way he's going to be over it just over a podcast, but he did let a lot of it out. So when he gets into the fight, it's not going to be boiling as much because he let out some of it. So, hopefully that could be something, because, I want to see both guys at their best. I'm not really preferring either guy. Unfortunately, I just wanted Izzy to be gone. And when Strickland became it, I was like, okay, cool. But then I was also, before that, I also wanted Dricus to fight Izzy and win. So I'm kind of stuck in a situation where I'm seeing two guys who should be allies now in some personal warfare with each other. And it's like, I like both guys. I do think Strickland is a little bit more chaotic, and I like chaotic champions. They're more entertaining as opposed to a boring guy like like Leon Edwards or some of these like kind of foreigner champions that don't really speak English as much. Not their fault, but there's ways to be entertaining even if you can't speak the language. I've seen a couple guys who could do that, but yeah, but it is unfortunate. Now, who do I think will win? If I had to bet money, it's a tough one because Strickland looks so good right now, and he probably is developing his own Auric champion bubble in a way. But at the same time, Dricus is he's a champion in other organizations, in the welterweight champion, and he was a middleweight champion as well. This is this is a very powerful guy. He was saying in the fight that they had in the UFC 296 in the arena, he was saying that Sean's punches were not strong at all, which you don't want someone to know your power until you're in the ring, because if someone knows that you don't punch hard and they feel it, like they know, it's not just like, oh, I heard he doesn't punch hard, I'll just walk through his punches. No, if they feel the punches and they go, oh, you know what, if I have to give one, if I have to take one to give one, oh yeah, that's a good bet. I mean, that's good. It's not even a gamble now because he's felt the punches and he was grappling him. Did he take Sean down? In the video it looked like he did, but at the same time, it's not like he ragdolled him. So, I mean, unfortunately, that's a lot of good data in Strickland's or in Duplessis's kind of back pocket. Now he knows, like, hey, I might need to turn this into a wrestling exchange because, well, I was able to get him down in person already. He kind of felt his strength, and he also felt his strikes. So now he knows, well, all of that information he collected from that brief exchange, that's going to go into the fight. And honestly, that's going to save him a lot of time because, maybe the game plan was to, out grapple him, but maybe Sean's, defensive grappling was so good that now he's like, maybe I should strike with him because he was hitting me. It didn't hurt so much. So unfortunately, that whole encounter, even though it's going to make both of them a whole lot of money, because people like that drama, they like that chaos. Everyone's talking about the fight that happened and all the bizarreness around it, which was great for PR. But at the same time, it's not so good fighting-wise because if you give anyone any data on anything, they're able to accumulate that in their they're able to change their fight plan based off that. And it saves them a lot of time, I mean, sometimes it could take, you may have to give up a round just to know that, hey, he's actually pretty weak. He doesn't hit hard. In the next round, I'm going to turn it up on him because I don't fear his striking, or I tried to take him down in the first round, but I found out he's a lot stronger than I thought. I think I'll keep it standing instead. So a lot of that is key information that you would only get from usually first round information, and now that's saving him from that. So who knows? That could be a key reason for why Dricus might win the fight. And honestly, if I had to say, like, who do I think, has the advantage? Because no one has the 100% chance of winning any fight, but especially in this one. But if I had to place money, I think I'm going to place it on Dricus, just because, one, Dricus fixed his nose, and therefore his cardio is like on a different level. To any of you people out there who have done cardio and you only breathe through your mouth, then you would know how exhausting that is to literally fight 3 rounds and be breathing through your mouth in a mixed martial art fight, like not kickboxing or something like that. It's like actually wrestling somebody. So he fixed his nose, fixed his foot, which was broken, and now he's coming into the fight with a good game plan too. He said that he wasn't, like, obviously those are arm punches from Strickland, but still, I mean, they did no damage. He looked fine after the exchange. I mean, he's a very strong guy. He got rid of Robert Whitaker. Could Sean Strickland get rid of Robert Whitaker like that? That's a really good question. I mean, I don't think so. And as we know from Alex Pereira, who was able to take out Sean Strickland with power punches, so if Strickland makes a mistake, he could potentially be eating power shots. But this is a different new Strickland too. You know, this is Deshaun Strickland, who has incredible Philly shell defense. He has like a lightning fast jab, 1-2. The teep kicks, like, I mean, the chances of those landing are so high. He landed like probably more teep kicks than he did any strike against Izzy. Um, so it's a tough one, but if I had to put my money in somebody, I would probably put in Dricus. So that's my 2 cents, and I'll see you guys on the next one.